Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And in this one, I'm going to be running through a playthrough of the Shadow Priest. I've been gearing up and ranking up my Shadow Priest, just recently getting Gladiator, and I'm going to be pushing as high as I can on twitch.tv/Supatease if you would like to tune into that live. And in this specific video, I'm going to be going over some commentary against a Death Knight Demon Hunter Restoration Shaman, going over my thoughts in the match, what I can do better, what I'm looking to try and do. And the purpose of this is so that you can take that information as well as for myself and apply it to your own gameplay. You're going to learn strategies. You're going to learn what these specs are trying to do and how to deal with it specifically. And it will expand to more than just a Shadow Priest as well. I'll be talking about like what my Warlock's doing or what my Restoration Shaman is doing in the middle of the game. And it's just going to be an educational tool. This is where I get the most insight into my own improvement, is just watching my own game. And then I just wanted to share that process along with you as well here on YouTube. So specifically against Frost Death Knights, you want to stand very far away from them, and you don't want to stand next to the target they're attacking. Against this type of composition, you typically want to protect your Warlock from getting gripped on gate, and our team doesn't do that. This is a very big mistake. This is going to leave you very compromised. So you want the Shaman to run at the Death Knight and drop Earth Grab Totem as soon as possible so that your Warlock can get a gateway. It makes the opener a lot more difficult, but after that point, you want to be attacking the healer as soon as possible. So I stun, silence, Shadow Fiend, Void Form, and at this point, I should have casted Mind Game sooner. It gave time for the Shaman to be able to wind shear me and get to a pillar to line of sight me. So at this point, you want to obviously kill Grounding Totem. Very important to kill it as fast as possible, but I need to cast Mind Games while in Void Form to get the added crit benefit from my talents that I'm running, although it didn't end up actually critting. But my main goal is to just keep VT and Shadow Word Pain on as many targets as possible and watch where my Warlock is going. Use things like Life Grip potentially in the future to pull away. This is Abomination's Limb, this green icon on the Death Knight. Do not go near the Death Knight when that's active. If you do, get ready to use defensive cooldowns. It will pull you from a very far distance, as you are about to see in this clip specifically. And when you get pulled as a Shadow Priest, you want to use Fade with the Greater Fade Honor talent. This will immune you to any damage and get away from them as soon as possible. And you want to fade as soon as you get gripped to try and avoid being stunned. And then if you're not stacked up, your Warlock will take less damage. Here are my Shamans in crowd control. I get ready and I just use Void Shift. Demon Hunter has Pillar of Frost. Demon Hunter has Metamorphosis. Death Knight has Pillar of Frost. Big cooldowns. Requires a big response, and I think my Shaman's Trinket is more valuable than my Life Swap. Also, this game has potential to go on 5 minutes, which means I'll be able to reset my Void Shift should that be the case. But anytime your healer is crowd controlled, get ready to use defensive cooldowns. This is going to include your Void Shift, your Vampiric Embrace, your Warlock's Unending Resolve. Immediately after surviving, you want to attack the Restoration Shaman again and make sure you get Mind Games up as soon as possible. Tell your team that you're attacking the Shaman so they can coordinate whatever extra damage as well. You can mind control healers at low health, and by mind controlling the Shaman in this position, I forced him to trinket and use Ascendance to recover. Here I'm rooted very far away, and I actually just decided to trinket the root. I could have mass dispelled this. It was likely better to mass dispel than trinket. This is a bit of a risky trinket, as now if I get gripped, I won't be able to trinket and move away. Again, get your dots up on as many targets as possible. Restoration Shaman is your main kill target. As a Shadow Priest, generally speaking, you are a healer killer with Mind Games, Stun, and Silence if you're playing with a Warlock. But you do want to get very good at killing healers, as that will allow you to climb rating. Get good at clicking these grounding totems and sniping them as soon as possible and maintaining your dots. Here my Warlock uses Portal, so I'm just dotting the DPS on their way over to the Warlock and getting ready to reposition for my stun on the Shaman here in a moment, which I do have Void Form. So stun, Void Form, Silence, I have everything here. I tried to sneak in a Mind Blast, and that was too greedy. I should always Mind Games on the stun here, and this is something that you should be doing with your own gameplay as well, watching it back. If I had been able to slip Mind Games in rather than Mind Blast, that would have been a lot stronger of an attempt. Here I try and jump to the Shaman to fear or to force him into line of sight of my Warlock. And so at this point, he can be dotted. And then as soon as he's dotted, I can fear. Here I get gripped. And if I had faded very fast, I would have taken 0 damage. I use Disperse. You will just immediately need to trade a cooldown on these grip goes. It's better to be safe than sorry, as that Death Knight class will just completely obliterate you if you don't use a defensive cooldown. Keep maintaining your dots. Here I have Power Infusion available. You want to cast that on your partner using the double Power Infusion legendary when your partner tells you they have damage. Here, the Death Demon Hunter uses the Hunt. So I start spamming my Warlock and I tell my team to trade cooldowns. So we use Unending Resolve for the hunt here. The main purpose is to just not overlap, just have an order, a consistent defensive order, rather than overlapping cooldowns. So if you void shift and you use Unending Resolve, that's an overlap. That's a bigger mistake than just using one or the other. Just so be committed. Voice call it here, stun, silence, go after the Restoration Shaman, tell my team that I'm doing it, and try and burst down 2 targets low. Here I could fear them just to interrupt their healing casts, bait the Demon Hunter to trinket. Also, during Unending Resolve, you should be aware of the offensive bonus the Warlock can free cast. So if the Warlock has a lot of damage lined up, they're using the hunt. It's usually better to use that cooldown in that position. Here they activate Darkness, that purple circle on the ground, so they're immune to damage. You just want to maintain dots, purge off Earth Shield, use a lot of globals for purge whenever defensive cooldowns are down, target those grounding totems as soon as possible, and you're just waiting for that stun, you're waiting for the silence, you're keeping dots up on as many targets as possible. Here's Abomination's Limb. I use Power Word Shield, and when I get gripped in, I should have faded in this position. It's a mistake to not have faded in this position. So we use Spirit Link Totem during this Abomination Limb. This is again a big cooldown moment. You can start to see a trend. When Covenant abilities are active, you need to prepare to use defensive cooldowns. So that was the Death Knight's Covenant ability. The Hunt is the Demon Hunter's Covenant ability. And you just want to trade defensive. So I use Spirit Link on that. Here, the Shaman gets spell locked. So I use Mind Games and I'll go into Void form, tossing Void Bolts, and do a Stun Silence with Devouring Plague, and really just run down the Shaman as much as possible. Use Damnation to instantly dot the Demon Hunter, who is also low, and used Blur earlier on. So I'm really focusing the Demon Hunter in this position because of that usage of cooldowns. Now the Shaman's out in the open again, so I want to dot them immediately. And if we land any interrupts here, their Shaman is really far behind. It's pretty much game over, even if we don't land interrupts, especially with the positioning of my Warlock against melee cleave. You want to run out into the open. So on Empyrean Domain, out here on this far corner, you can see how they just kind of fall to pieces. Everything falls apart for them when we pull them out into that open positioning, port, and then run to the other side, and then back into the open. That way they're always in line of sight of me to free cast on, and it allows me to do a lot of damage. And if I had better skill at Shadowlands, you can see even myself making mistakes on the goes on the healer, and that's why it's very important, even just for myself, to go over footage like this to hone in on that, because not getting the mind games off during Psychic Horror is a big mistake. It should be Psychic Horror, or it should be Void Form, Psychic Horror, Mind Games. And you want to cast Mind Games during the stun because the target can't move. If you wait until after the stun, then they're silenced, but they can still move, and they might be able to line of sight you. So my order of operations in terms of the spells that I'm casting on a healer needs to change. I need to do Void Form, Psychic Horror, Mind Games, then Damnation, then go after them, or just previously have them dotted. So I could Damnation first, then Void Form, then Psychic Horror, then Mind Games, and then pump Devouring Plagues in after that, purge them down if I need to, generate Insanity like that. But it's obvious here from watching my own play that my healer goes need to improve. Also, in this specific matchup, there's a conduit that I don't currently have that I would recommend, which is a conduit that reduces the cooldown of your life grip. So you leap of faith, so you can pull the target away more frequently. I think that it is worth dropping a potency conduit to get that finesse conduit in matchups against Death Knights, because you can just allow the Warlock or whatever else you're playing with to avoid damage or avoid crowd control so much more, that it's very valuable into a composition that has a Death Knight or double melee in general. So in the future, I'm going to be trying to farm out that conduit so that I can pull my Warlock more frequently. But again, the main purpose of this video is just to go over my own play, what I'm doing to improve, and then also to encourage you to do the same. Like, you shouldn't be embarrassed if you're making mistakes, or you shouldn't be afraid to make mistakes if that's something that's preventing you from playing or preventing you from trying, or you kind of like avoiding looking at it because you don't want to look at it, right? Like even myself, before I uploaded this, I was like, I actually made a ton of mistakes, so I really want to upload this. Is it going to be a good video? I feel like even for myself, I was like, it should be, because this is actually a real video, and like this is real stuff. This is what happens. Everybody's got to figure out what they're doing, and if you just never look at it, you ignore it, or you never try, then you just never go anywhere. Becomes the real issue with it. So don't be afraid to record your videos. Also, if you want to record your videos and have me go over the footage, I'm down for that 100%. So if you want to record your own game and maybe you don't have the knowledge to watch your own video to see what's going on specifically, if you want to come to my stream on twitch.tv/Supatease and you've uploaded something to YouTube, Even if it's private, you don't want it to be public to other people, and then you just link it to me. I can go over footage on my stream as well. I'd love to do that. To help people out, to figure out, because it's just all about getting better, right? If we all get better, then there's just more people to play with, there's more people to play against, and then we're not all just sitting alone and bored in LFG. So I think this is like a very important process to improvement and building your own ability, and then being able to share that with other people, to have teams and competition, the whole thing. I think it's a big deal regardless. So if you've managed to sit this far through the video, thank you very much. I hope that it was informative for you. If you liked the video, leave it with a thumbs up. Comment down below with your thoughts as well. What's been going on with you on your specialization or your team and your troubles, and I can see if I can make content around it as well to help you out. Other than that, thank you very much for watching the video. Subscribe. It's absolutely free. It just lets you know when my videos go live. And I will see you in the next one.